Have you ever sat in your favorite chair by the window, waiting for a knock at the door that never comes? Maybe you cooked a nice meal, straightened up the house, even put on a fresh shirt, hoping today would be the day they stop by. But the hours slip away, day turns into night, and once again it's just you and the quiet and that ache in your heart. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we grow older, one of our deepest desires is to stay close to our children, the very people we raised, sacrificed for, and shaped our lives around. When the visits slow down, when the phone calls grow fewer, it can feel like rejection. It can feel as though something is wrong with you. But take a deep breath. Sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it's not even personal. What we'll talk about here isn't about blame. It's about understanding. Because with understanding comes peace, and sometimes even healing. One reason visits may fade is unspoken emotional tension. That doesn't always mean a big argument or falling out. It can be subtle, building slowly like dust settling over the years. Maybe it began with a disagreement about how they raise their kids, or advice you gave with love that wasn't received that way. Maybe even an offhand remark years ago about their job, their spouse, or their appearance stuck with them longer than you realized. When those moments go unspoken, they create distance. Over time, the gap gets harder to bridge. Children, even as adults, sometimes avoid visits not because they don't love their parents but because they don't want to feel judged or misunderstood. They may think, why go if I'll only feel small again? That may hurt to hear, but pause and reflect. We all avoid people who make us feel unseen or unheard, even family. The key isn't blame, it's awareness. If your relationship has quietly collected emotional dust, maybe it's time to gently open a window, let fresh air in, and start again. Another reason for distance is that the parent-child dynamic changes more than we realize. When your children were young, you were the center. You made decisions, set rules, and guided their lives. Now they're grown, perhaps with kids of their own, careers, and endless responsibilities. Sometimes parents don't notice that they're still treating their adult children like kids. You may ask questions that feel intrusive, or offer advice that, though meant with love, comes across as criticism. And so, they pull back, and not out of anger, but from a need for independence and emotional safety. Your intentions are good, of course, but when adult children feel their autonomy isn't respected, they struggle to feel fully themselves around you. That makes visiting harder. The hopeful part is that small changes can open the door again, softening your tone, asking instead of telling, listening instead of correcting. These shifts can transform you into a safe place, a harbor they return to not from obligation, but because they want to. Think back to your own 30s or 40s, juggling work, kids, stress. How often did you visit your parents? Did you ever avoid it because you were too tired, or because every visit turned into a lecture or guilt trip? This isn't about blame, but about perspective. Generations have gone through this, but you have the power to break that cycle. You can choose to be the parent your grown children feel relaxed and accepted around. There's also the invisible weight of guilt. Sometimes when children do visit, they leave feeling burdened, not uplifted. Comments like "you never come anymore" or "I guess you're too busy for us" come from loneliness, but they weigh heavy on your child's heart. Instead of joy, they carry guilt away from the visit. And over time, guilt makes them come less. Your feelings are valid. It's okay to miss your kids, but how you express that longing matters. Imagine instead saying, "It's so nice to see you," or "I really enjoyed our time together." Those words leave your child feeling loved, welcomed, and more eager to return. Sometimes distance has nothing to do with conflict at all. Life simply pulls them in different directions: new jobs, raising kids, endless responsibilities. Adult life is noisy and exhausting. When overwhelmed, people often step back from those they trust most to understand their parents. That may feel like being put on the back burner, but it often comes from love. They assume you'll understand, because you've always been strong, dependable, steady. The truth is, they might not realize how much you need support too. They may think your silence means you're fine, but you don't have to keep quiet. You have every right to say, "I miss you," and not in guilt, but in love. A simple note, a call, or a message can be the spark they didn't know they needed. Sometimes, visits dwindle because the connection itself has gone quiet. If every conversation turns into updates about health, complaints, or small talk, children may feel the visits lack joy. People are drawn to light, to laughter, to warmth. Ask yourself gently, what kind of emotional space am I creating? Do I light up when they walk in? Do I ask about their passions, their lives, their joys? Even small curiosity as to what shows they watch, what hobbies they've picked up show that you care about their world. And remember, your children's world is far different from the one you raised them in. Time feels shorter, demands louder, pressures heavier. They may drift without realizing it, but you can still be the calm in their storm, the one who listens without fixing, who loves without conditions. That is what they need most, even now. Sometimes children stay away not because of busyness, but because they're hurting. They may be dealing with anxiety, depression, financial struggles, or personal pain they don't know how to share. They remember you as the strong parent, and fear showing up in weakness. They don't want to be seen as failing in your eyes. In those moments, your greatest gift is simply to be a safe place for their vulnerability. You don't need all the answers, you just need to remind him that home doesn't demand perfection, it simply welcomes. And yet, sometimes even with all your efforts, the visits don't come. The silence lingers. You may wonder if you failed somehow. But here Thesa, you are not responsible for every distance. Your children are adults now. They have their own choices. Reflection matters. Reaching out matters. But so does protecting your peace. Your worth is not measured by how often your phone rings. You are not less lovable because visits have slowed. You are still you, full of wisdom, stories, and love to share. Maybe now is the time to pour that love into yourself, into friendships, hobbies, and the simple joys of life. If your children return, and often they do, you'll be ready with open arms, not bitterness. Even in silence, your love still speaks. You are not forgotten. You are deeply valued, exactly as you are. And perhaps the most powerful truth of all is this: love that is patient and welcoming has a way of drawing people back home.